I've read a lot of books for 2023, and now I want to share with y'all these tips and tricks condensed because the books were long. One of the first books I read was Atomic Habits. It's literally one of the most popular and probably notable books of like this whole list, and I probably actually do recommend you read that book entirely because that whole entire book is actually pretty good. But if I had to give you one lesson from that book, my planner girlies, I'm so sorry, which is me. I'm a planner girl, okay? Walk slowly, but never backward. Planning is not gonna get you anywhere if there's no action being taken. I know you want to plan, I know you want to make sure everything is perfect before you actually start. In this case, if I'm talking about YouTube, I'm talking to myself right now. You want to make sure that you have the good equipment, you want to make sure your outfit looks good, you want to make sure your face looks good, that you're not breaking out. Me right now, literally. That I have an aesthetic space. No. Do the action, take it. And I'm talking to myself. All those ideas, they're keeping you behind. And you just want to live in this delusion, in this planning stage and stay comfortable there. You need to learn from your mistakes as you go. You don't know what you need to learn if you never even started in the first place. How do you know, oh, I suck at, for example, me being a YouTuber, I suck at editing. Well, how am I gonna know that if I just spent all my time planning? I didn't actually figure out, oh, hey, I actually do kind of suck at editing. Let me fix it. Let me correct it. You think people are just born knowing how to do something? Some people actually are pretty good and talented, but that's like 1%. Most of us are kind of average. Why do you keep thinking that you have to be this like excellent person that knows everything from the get-go, from the beginning? So why is somebody just as average as you making it, but you're not?
Boom. Roasted.
Because you're living in just this, but you're not taking the action. There was actually a really great example in the book that stood out for me. So there was this professor, I think it was a film professor. He actually had split his class into two groups. It was a quantity group and it was a quality group. So the quantity group would be graded based on how many pictures they took. So on the final day of class, he would tally up the number of photos that were taken by each student. Meanwhile, the quality group, to get an A, they would have to get a perfect picture, a nearly perfect image. What was his surprise at the end of the term? The quantity group ended up taking better quality pictures and quantity pictures. They did both. Just because of so many pictures they took, with each photo they got better and better as they kept going. While the quality group was so focused on getting that perfect image, they didn't get as good of a picture. They were planning, analyzing that perfect photo. The photo was mediocre. So do not get stuck on analysis paralysis. Act, do not plan. What's another thing I learned? Habits form based on frequency, not time. You'll often hear people ask, how long will I actually take to start eating healthy? How long will it start until I lose weight?
You already messed up.
What you should be asking yourself is, how many does it take to form my new habit? I'm always like, okay, how long will it take me to lose that weight? I just want to know the time frame. And when it doesn't work, then I'm like, what do you mean? Somebody just told me that they lost weight in 6 months. It doesn't matter if it's been 30 days or 100 days. According to the book, in those 30 days, you could do something twice or you could do something 200 times. Your current habits, the ones that you already have, either good or bad, they were created or you have them because you've made them over and over and over and over again. You've acted upon them hundreds, if not thousands of times. That's why you have them currently. So when forming a new habit, when you want a new goal, you have to actively do it over and over and over again. It's not how long. It's not, I will reach my goal in 2 months. It's, I will reach my goal in 200 times. I can't complain why I didn't lose weight in 6 months if I only ate healthy like 5 times in those 6 months. Now, if I ate healthy every meal, that's a lot of repetitions over and over and over and over again. That's a lot of meals. Even if I did most of them, I would have seen some results. And this kind of goes with the manifestation law, in that you have to act a certain way to want or to be that person that you want to become. If I want to lose weight or I want to be healthy, I have to act as if I am already a healthy person. And they did speak about that in the book. They did say that you have to create an identity for yourself. Your goal has to be your new identity. They mentioned that if there's a smoker and somebody offers them a cigarette, instead of saying, no thanks, I'm trying to stop smoking, you're saying that you're trying. You haven't believed that you've already stopped. Internally, you're already telling yourself that you're still a smoker. We just have to be cautious on how we think. We should be thinking like a person that we want to become, not how long will it take me to reach that. Because you're already doubting yourself. You're like, how long will it? It should be forever. Going to the gym should be forever, for life. It shouldn't be just 6 months until I see results and then stop. Think like you already are that person. 168 hours. Identify your core competencies. I hope I said that right. Do you have your list of goals? Do you know what you do better than anyone else? What taps into your inner motivations. What do you want to do more with your life? What do you want to become? This book actually mentioned that a lifetime is only 168 hours repeated over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Creating a list of what actually matters to you and adding it to a weekly schedule with actionable steps on how you're going to get there will actually change your life. So personally, for me, in my example, I want to be a content creator. As a content creator, I have to block and prioritize time in my week to edit videos, to film videos, and stick to it. So again, the previous lesson about sticking to a habit over and over again, and prioritize it, because that's where I actually fail. Jeez, man, this video's for me actually. I do not sometimes prioritize my videos. I actually prioritize other things. I get caught up in house chores and I get caught up in what I'm gonna eat because I'm trying to eat my protein. That takes a lot of my time, so I end up not prioritizing my YouTube like I should. Because that's like my main goal, like, so why I am not prioritizing it over everything else. At this point, I'm only planning really where I should be prioritizing and acting on it. So these goals, or these lessons from these books, are just kind of like in a circle, in a loop, kind of saying the same thing but like not, in a different way, I guess. They all have a similar tone to them. So add blocks to your week with your priorities. This one's a interesting one. It actually mentions that you should ignore, minimize, or outsource all your unimportant tasks. Outsourcing, I don't know about that because I ain't got that outsource money yet. I do not have enough to hire somebody to do my dishes yet. We're speaking into existence, okay? The list I talked about in the previous tip, yeah, anything that's not on that list, you're gonna try to minimize it, ignore it, or outsource. You know, whenever you're like postponing something just because you're like, oh, I have chores, I can't get my life together until I clean my room, or like I can't I can't film, like right now I can't film this video until I get rid of all those clothes and do my bed. That's what I was thinking in my head right now before I filmed this video. It's just like your mind making up excuses over and over again just for you not to prioritize the main thing that you actually want. Or like, I won't go to the gym until I have a cute outfit, a cute gym fit. No, we're showing up regardless if you have a cute fit or not. Adam Sandler clothes, you're still going. The priority is to get toned, not anything else. You're making up excuses in your mind, waiting until you literally like have everything perfect. Again, waiting until you have everything perfect. Just show up. What they also meant by this tip about ignoring, minimizing, and outsourcing: minimize distractions, minimize my phone usage. Yeah, that one's a bit of a problem. I need to eliminate it completely, minimize it. I spend hours on that thing and it's really stopping me from achieving my goals a lot of the time. You know what you want as well. Why are you not making that thing that you want a priority over everything else, over going out weekends, over like binge watching a series that you really like, where you could be putting that time into what you actually want? Why are you not making your dream or your goal a priority over everything else? Okay, this next book I would also recommend you read completely. The way the author just shifted my mind is crazy. About time management, about being more proactive. I still have to do better. What's the absolute worst that could happen if you did what you're thinking of doing? And the reason why they mentioned that was because a lot of people put that fear subconsciously in their head, but they don't actually think about if that were to happen, which is the least likely scenario that could happen. If that were to happen, how would they deal with it, or how would they arrive to a solution quickly? So my tip for this is define your nightmare. And is that thing really permanent? Would it be the end of your life? Imagine those things. Envision them as much as you can. It's like the least possible outcome, but it's still a fear that we hold in our heads. So if it were to happen, what steps would you take to remove yourself from that situation? Most of the time, your worst fear is actually something you can get back up from, and it's not really as bad as we make it out to be. So always have like a plan. I were to pursue, I guess, YouTube, my worst possible outcome would probably be not having a job, possibly even like losing my home. Maybe like I get into scandal, maybe like I get canceled or something. But like I'm not really like a bad person, so I don't think I would get canceled, but let me just not put that out there. But people be finding out everything nowadays, so, but I don't have nothing to hide. But you never know, you know? I could get in debt, maybe a lot of debt actually. It's probably the worst case scenario in my head right now that I'm thinking of. But in that case, what I'm thinking I would do was probably get a job. at that point. Like, and even like going back to part-time, if that's what I have to do, then you gotta do it, you know? I feel like even if those things did happen, like all those bad things, I would still figure it out, you know? Like I would still do what I gotta do to survive. So, like I said, sometimes your worst possible scenario is not the worstest. And it's usually something that, yeah, it's gonna suck, but you're gonna get through it eventually. It's just gonna be a really low moment in your life, but you'll get through it. It's not as bad as you think it is. It's mostly just like our minds going into safe mode. Now that you're thinking what the worst possible terrible outcome could be, now you have to think what the most likely good outcome could be if you did pursue your goal. And have less intelligent people actually pulled off what you're trying to do. Hey, the most best outcome that could happen is I literally have a lot of people watching my videos. I quit my job. Dude, that's crazy. Make videos as a living. Oh my god, that would be great. Like, that would be perfect. Travel. I would travel a lot. Maybe like I would probably still go to college. Maybe I could be able to pay for it now. Have cute outfits now because I have money, and I would be able to eat healthier because I have money now. Because girl, eating healthy on a budget, it's kind of hard, not gonna lie. And I would actually have time to volunteer places. That's even better than like the worst possible outcome. The worst possible outcome isn't really like that bad compared to like all the good stuff that could most likely happen than the worst possible outcome. Have you ever had a situation where you're completing a task and then you somehow are stuck in one part of the task and you can't simply move on from it? Like, it just, you can't decide something, so you stay for hours deciding on that one insignificant thing, and then you realize that that part of the task isn't even that deep. Me, when I take an hour to pick out the font for my thumbnail. So the book mentions something called the 80-20 rule. You may actually realize that 80% of your results, of your productivity, comes from actually 20% of the work you put in. You know that saying, work smarter, not harder? Yeah. So find a way, brainstorm ideas on how you can reduce or minimize work that doesn't really give you any results. A good example that the book gave basically was, what 20% of your friends bring you 80% of your happiness? Which 20% of my friends are creating 80% of drama and stress? What part of your task or your goal you need to keep doing because that's the one that's giving you the most results? If it's tried out and it's tested and you know it's giving you results, why not keep doing it? Okay, next and final tip. Have you ever, and I know you have you ever been given 2 weeks to complete a project only for you to finish it in the day before? The book mentions a law, it's called Parkinson's law, that work expands depending on the time that you give yourself for completion. This means if you give yourself 2 weeks to complete something, you're gonna take the 2 weeks. If you give yourself 1 day, you're gonna complete it in 1 day. The more time you give yourself to complete a task, the longer you will take. Make sure you give yourself a tight deadline. Not too tight, but still a good deadline that it's not super extra, because you'll find a way to complete it if you respect that deadline. All right, well, that's everything for today. That's all the tips I have, but I have a whole bunch more in my notes app. So if y'all like this video, let me know. Give it a thumbs up or comment which one you think you will struggle with the most and is holding you back from achieving your dreams, because for me it's all of them, literally all of them. But all right, well, thank you guys for watching.